I did it again. I goofed. Hold on, let me show you the proof. Let me turn it around right now. This is the wrong music. It's not the right sound. And I shouldn't violate like that. Hold on, so I'm about to spin right back. Hold on. Yeah, it's the Urban Therapy with Sunshaw. It's the Urban Therapy with Sun Show, y'all. And we are here. We are in motion. We do this thing. We do this fast. We ain't coasting. How y'all feeling? Emily Dunlap in the house. I said it. Emily T. Carey, right? Morning, noon, night. It's always good to have my peoples going in your sight. Word. So this morning, we got a deep topic to talk about. We got some family business to talk about. Literally, we have some family business that we need to talk about. And we're going to get straight into it. It's the Urban Therapy with Sun Show. Y'all know we do this every Sunday morning from 11 o'clock till around 12:30-ish. And the reason that we say 12:30-ish is because sometimes it gets so heated that we just have to do a little OT on a hump day. On a Sunday. It's the weekend, baby. And here it is, the 18th of the month. So April is just about on up out of here. And it seems kind of crazy that the year is moving along really fast, and there have been so many things going on. But we're going to talk about family business this morning. And what we're going to ask this morning is, where do people go when they leave their families? First, I want to really talk about what it means to leave your family. When people say that daddy left the family when we was such an age, and it's always young. Word. You know how people talk about when the dad left the home, but they don't always say that he just left the home. They say that he left the family. Dad left us when I was 3 years old. Daddy left us when I was 5 years old, whatever. You know, and of course, it's a devastating thing to happen to a small child. But I think we need to look at what it really means to leave your family, and in the different ways that can happen. Because it's not only the father that ever leaves a family, but what does it really mean when we talk about somebody has left the family? You know, what family are we talking about? Are we being fair in our judgment of somebody that moves on, that goes forward, that forges ahead and starts a new life for themselves? Does it mean that you have to leave one in order to have another? So that's what we're going to talk about today on the Urban Therapy with Sun Show. It's going to be nice. It's going to be good. And I'm glad you came through. Carol Chamber, let me favorita. It's always good to have my peoples to see you in ya. And Stacey White holding it down for the D. I'm glad you came through. I see you. Word up. So that's what we're getting into. Where do people go when they leave their families? Certainly, many of us know people who have actually left their family, but have we reported that leave correctly? Are we being fair? Are we being honest? Are we really talking about leaving the family when we say leaving the family? And that's not to say that we are charging people incorrectly for crimes that they didn't do or they didn't commit. It's not a crime to leave anybody. But it may be seen as a violation, especially when you're talking about a child, small children, or something that happens when a child is young, real young and impressionable, and honestly quite needy. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it right now. Urban Therapy with Sun 752, and this is the Urban Therapy with Sun Show. We do this every single Sunday morning from 11 o'clock till around 12:30-ish. And the reason that we say 12:30-ish is because sometimes it can get so heated that we just have to do a little OT on a Sunday. And it is Sunday, 18th of April. April is getting their way on up out of here. They ain't waiting. It's going to be good today. So this is the show where adults come out and play with other adults. Adults, we laugh, we cry, we argue, fuss, and fight, go back and forth with each other, bust it up all crazy. We take an introspective look into our own personality to see how we fit into this thing called life and the perspective of this universe. How does it happen? We play in a sandbox We play on the monkey bars. We play on the merry-go-round. We push each other up the sliding board, slide down the sliding board. We push each other on the swings. We have a good time with each other. I am your host, Son 752, aka Omar with the. And if you can't say Omar with the, what did you just say, Omar with the R? It's the Urban Therapy with Son show. Thank y'all for coming on through. I appreciate it. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure that y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. This is going to be a goodie. I think we really need to have this conversation. We are talking about where do people go when they leave the family? When they leave their families, where do they go? You know, we all know of a story, either personal or somebody we know has parents that broke up, whether they got divorced, whether they got separated, or whether they broke up with each other. Mommy and daddy aren't together anymore, and daddy was the one who left. Now, that may be where it all starts. But where does it go from there? If your mom and your dad break up, if they aren't able to get it popping as a couple any longer, and your father is the one to leave the house, and y'all are left with your mom who has full custody of y'all, full-time custody of y'all, does that mean that your father has left the family? Now, a lot of times when we talk about somebody leaving somewhere, there's often an anger element that is involved in this process. Sorry, my Google's trying to get on up in here. But yeah, when a person leaves a situation and they're angry, when a person vacates, when a person is no longer involved in a situation, and they were upset or they were angry when they left the situation, yeah, we're going to look at that as an official leave, because the expectation that they will return to that situation is probably low. But what happens when people aren't angry, when they aren't upset, when they aren't mad? What about when they just want to start all over, when they want a fresh, clean slate, when they want a fresh new start, when they want to do something different than what they have been doing, when they are disenchanted or unsuccessful in one area, so they go to another area to try their luck over there? Do we still look at that as a leaving situation? Many of us do. A lot of us don't. A lot of us respect the process of people trying to find their way, trying to find themselves. I definitely don't see anything wrong with it. But some people may look at it differently, because when someone wants to leave you and you want them to stay, it's a tough situation. Very, very tough. Emotionally, it can be very taxing on you. It can be very taxing on you emotionally. So, in the case of parents breaking up, very rarely are kids screaming hooray when their parents break up. There are some cases where parents are actually happy when their parents break up, because they probably took the side of one parent over the other parent. And of course, that parent, even if they are the mature parent, they ain't going to tell the kids, well, no, don't be all happy with me, and don't be all on my side and feeling like I was the right one, and don't be all supportive of me. Go ahead and support the other parent. They need it more than I do. You know what I mean? Plus, they was in the right on the low. You're not going to hear too many parents doing that. They're going to embrace that acknowledgement of the effort that they put through, and of the effort that they put forth, and they're going to take in that support. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? If you felt like you did everything that was necessary in order to keep a situation going well, keep the boat afloat, keep the party going, why wouldn't you accept accommodation, accolades, praise, compliments, love, affection for getting it popping that way or keeping things in order. You probably deserve that. You probably deserve that. God damn, you know. I'm just looking at as opposed to Instagram. On Instagram, you can see my whole crib, the whole living room. I'm like, damn, you can see the ceiling fan, the track lights, the mirrors on both walls. What the hell? You might be able to tell what type of vertical blinds those are. What are we doing? There's too much light in here. Matter of fact, there ain't as much light on in here as it looks like. All right, but it is what it is. Sheesh. Man, it's a good thing I ain't. Sheesh. Anyway, so yeah, you know, it's a hard thing for children to accept that their parents can't get along, can't stay in there with each other, can't make it with each other. It's hard. And a lot of times children blame themselves. Children blame themselves for the failure of an adult marriage. I don't know how kids come to that conclusion, but many kids think like maybe if I'd have been good, maybe if we wouldn't have fought all the time, maybe if I would have done better in school, maybe mommy and daddy wouldn't have been arguing. Now, I like I said, I don't know how children come to that conclusion, but you can see the delicate, frail, emotional nature that children have, that you really have to tread lightly. You have to be careful of how you address them and how you explain things to them. Adults, how you explain, you have to be careful about the way that you explain adult situations to them, because they're not going to automatically get it. They're not going to automatically see what you see. Do you see what I see? I'll turn my let me see where I got this shit. Okay. Do you see what I see? All right, here we go. So, yeah. So when you talk about somebody leaving their family, I mean, we don't have just fathers leaving families. Mothers have left families. Brothers and sisters have left families. Aunts, uncles, cousins have left families, and many of them have left their family on not so good circumstances. You know, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know. It always makes me feel some kind of way when I hear people say all the time, like, family is worse than people on the street. A lot of times, you know, a lot of times family do you worse than people who don't know you, or non-family members will do you. I don't know. That makes me feel bad. You know what I'm saying? Because you come from your family. That's the foundation. That's your home. And it always makes me feel bad that somebody can't or feels like they can't go home anymore. Whether it's their fault or whether it is the fault of somebody else who violated them. They don't feel comfortable in their home. They don't feel comfortable at home with their people. They don't feel like they're welcome, or they don't want to welcome their family into their lives anymore. I don't know. When people say family is not your blood, it's the people who love you. I mean, that sounds good. It does. It sounds good. But I ain't with all of that. I certainly have friends that I consider to be as close as family, but that blood means something to me. It just does. It means a lot to me. But I don't have to separate the two in order to treat both of them well. I don't have to do that. And I'm okay with us just being really great friends. What's wrong with that? You don't have to be my brother. I don't have to declare you to be my family in order for me to treat you well, and I shouldn't have to do that with you in order for you to treat me well. I don't have a problem with that. So, but I'll tell you this though. To hear somebody who was only a friend to you say, "Well, you left me." Well, what does that mean? You can best believe that if a friend leaves a friend, then there has been some unfavorable circumstances associated with that leave. When somebody was your best friend and you don't consider them to be your best friend anymore, hey, there's something to that. There is something to that. You know it. Like, yeah, that was my best friend at one time. Or that was somebody I used to call my best friend. They're definitely not my best friend no more. I still have love for them, but we ain't best friends no more. That means that there was a hiccup. There was a violation. There was static. There was a problem. There was interference. There was a violation. There's something there. You know, there was an event, a happening. Something happened to take away that status. Something happened to take away that status. And then, you know, when you hear a friend talk about, well, you know, you left me. That can mean that you abandoned me. Like when I needed your help, you know, you just left me out there. You knew I had enemies that we used to fight together, and you left me to fight them by myself, or you fought on their side, but you left me. So it's a little strange to hear a friend tell another friend, well, you left me. You left the friendship. Like, it sounds crazy. Like, wait a minute, was we just friends, or you know, was this something? What were we doing? What kind of friendship did we have? You know, if you hear a man say that another man left him, that sounds like they was on some down low gay shit. You know, but when you hear a family member tell another family member, well, you left the family. Well, all kinds of questions are going to be asked about that, because it's real shit. There are real things associated with that. But do we always tell the truth in that situation? Are we dealing with actual facts? Are we dealing with the things that truly happen, or are we just speaking from our own heart? What's going on, Emily Dunlap on the Instagram side, and Taki Zori? What's going on? How you feeling? Sucre Jetois, Sucre JTX is all up in the house. I think I saw somebody else. The first person was Nina Ross, 21. Divinity Designs. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate me some you. All right. Cherry Dana Dane has popped up. Cherry Dana Dane is Cinderella Dana Dane. Well, it's the woman Dana Dane with fame. Cinderella Dana Dane. Well, it's the woman Dana Dane with fame. What's going on, Dana Dane? Good to see me some you. So yeah. So what does it really mean to leave your family? You know? When you hear a family member say that another family member left, you're going to ask why. Does leaving your family mean that you never came back, or that you don't have intentions to ever come back? What does leaving your family mean, y'all? What does it mean? Do you have to be angry in order to leave your family? Carol Chamberlain says, every time you start messing with stuff, we have problems. Just stop. Now you're buffering on YouTube. I don't have no control over no buffering. It's digital. It doesn't respond to physical cues. Leave me alone. Shirley Sherrill, the world's most precious and greatest pearl in the world. Shirley Sherrill, the world's most precious and greatest pearl in the world. What's that, Taki Zori? Facebook comment? What's that mean? Carol English says, thankfully, I never had that experience. Okay. Stacey White says, I don't know because I just had my grandmother and my mother. Yeah, but all right, let me give y'all a scenario that many of y'all can relate to. Let's take a person who moves down south. You know, a lot of people from up north move down south. Atlanta all day. I'm like, Atlanta ain't full yet. Like, we still got to deal with Atlanta. What's up with Atlanta? Like, people from Detroit move to Atlanta. People from Milwaukee move to Atlanta. People from St. Louis move to Atlanta. People from down south move to Atlanta. Oh yeah, I live in Tennessee, but I'm moving to Atlanta. I'm like, what? Philly, Atlanta, New York, Atlanta, Jersey, Atlanta, Boston, Atlanta. I'm like, what? Atlanta should be the biggest. It should be not only the black Mecca, it should be full. There shouldn't be one job left in Atlanta to do. Oh, that's an arrow pointing upwards. Oh, okay. Oh, my bad. Eyes, garbage now, garbage. But yeah, let's take a person that moves down south. Now, they may have moved down south to get a better job, to start a new life, to finally have a nice house. You know, the property values down, the real estate affordability down south has been said to be a lot better. What the hell? What are y'all doing? Oh, okay. So yeah, if somebody goes down, if somebody from up north moves down south, a lot of times they're going down south in order to start a better life, you know, make it out there, finally have a nice big house, whatever, you know, that they can afford with the salary that they make, whatever. They're going down there for a better life. Now, sure, a lot of people have moved down south because they couldn't get it popping wherever they came from. You know, like, listen, man, ain't nothing going on here. You know, my peoples live down in Atlanta, whatever, or you know, I got this opportunity down in Atlanta. So let's say they move down south, and let's say they start doing well down there. They got a good job. They got. Listen, y'all need to come over to the YouTube side. I can't read those comments on it's too hard. I told y'all the way the words go on Instagram, I can't read that. I can't read them. I can't read it. Can't read that. All right. So anyway, so if a person moves down south and they start a new life down there, things start going well for them. They meet somebody, a love interest or whatever. By the way, a lot of people move down south because their love interest moved down there and they follow them down there. Okay. So if you go down there, they start having kids or whatever. If they are of childbearing age, you know, they start doing well, have their own family, and you know, things are working out good. Okay. So what happens if First, they were bringing their kids up north to see the family a lot and whatever, you know what I mean? But after a while, they stopped coming up north as much. They more like, yo, y'all need to come down and see us sometimes. You know, I can't be coming home all the time, blah, 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 blah. And maybe they like it down south more than they liked it up north. You know, up north, we got to deal with the snow, we got to deal with the cold, we got to deal with the heating costs and all that kind of stuff, you know. So maybe when they moved down south, they started digging it. And they're not bringing their children as much, bringing their children up to see the family as much. You know, some people did it, but you know how back in the day, it was a common thing for when we was kids, our family, our moms, our dads, and whoever came from down south. So we would go down south for the summertime. Not me though. I went up north for the summertime. I went up to Milwaukee for the summertime because my people's moved from down south all the way up to Milwaukee. So that's where we went. But everybody else, they went down south. They went to Florida. They went to Georgia. They went to South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. They spent their summers down south. Sometimes people from down south went up north. You know, it was such and such. They moved up to Philly. They moved up to New York. They moved up to Jersey. They moved up to wherever. And they went to spend their summers up there. But what if you stop your kids from doing that as much? You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, when they were younger, 6, 7, 8 years old, they would take their kids. They would bring the kids up for the summertime, let them spend a few weeks or a month up at the up in Philly, up in New York, whatever. But then you stop doing that. You ain't came home. You ain't came home from down south for a good minute. You know, you may have even missed a few funerals and birthdays and anniversaries and weddings. Like, you don't come home no more. Now, when you first left to go down south, it wasn't like it was all good when you left. Maybe you wasn't mad, but you wasn't happy. But now you have started a new life down south. Your kids don't know nothing about living up north. They know about living down south. They went to school down south. Their friends are down south. Their life, their place of birth down south. And you don't bring them up north very much anymore. Other than phone calls, we ain't seen you in a few years. Maybe longer than that. Have you left the family? Have you left the family? Think about it. Think about it. Maybe initially what you did wasn't leaving the family because you were still connected, but you have become more and more disconnected from the family. Not saying that you don't like them no more, but you're gone. Just like that child, just like that father who left, maybe he was coming around a lot more. When daddy first left, he would come pick me up on the weekends. Then it was more like once a month. Then it wasn't even like once a month. It was more like phone calls. He would call and check in on a regular basis. Then the phone calls started not to come as much. Now I ain't seen my dad in a while. I ain't seen him in a year or two. Initially, did he leave the family? Initially, did he leave the family? So let me see. Cherry says, you don't have to be angry in order to leave your family. It might be a mental health reason. Some family members may be toxic. Yeah. I imagine you're right. Well, I know you're right about that, but dang, that's like I said, it makes me feel bad to hear that. It just does. It just does. It's funny. Like, I wonder how the toxic person looks at the situation. I wonder, what's their point of view? It's that Mikhail Mami and Chris Batson. What's going on, y'all? Thanks for coming through. Appreciate it. Appreciate y'all. So we talking about where do people go when they leave their families. We talk about they left the family, but where'd they go? What do we mean by they left the family? T. Carey Wright says sometimes a parent can be emotionally or mentally vacant, leaving their family to feel abandoned in real time. Sounds right to me. What's up, Errol Robinson? What up, Errol? How you feeling? But yeah, like when you really start to get into this whole he left me or I left or whatever, or they left, it's not always as simple as it may seem. There may be a whole lot more to that story than what the title may suggest. You know, you left me. No, I didn't leave you. You put me out. Well, do families put other family members out? Real shit. You know, do y'all look at it that way? Do family members, we know that husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends, you know, the spouses put each other out, whatever. But does a family put another family member out? You know, there may have been times when families should have put somebody out and they didn't do it. Like in the case of sexual abuse, incest and shit like that. I mean, I think it's kind of, don't you think it's a little strange that people who have committed incest in their families have still been able to stay in their families? Meanwhile, a crackhead that stole somebody bamboo earrings back in 1986, you're out of this family. You are out of here. Don't you never come around the Johnsons no more. Yo, man, you got to forgive your crackhead uncle for whatever happened in 86, 87, 88, 89. You got to let it go. Especially when y'all let Mr. Dave still stay in the family after he touched all over Keita. Keita ain't right to this day because of what Mr. Dave did. Oh, who was Mr. Dave? Mr. Dave was in the family, but Mr. Dave wasn't a blood family member. He married my aunt. Mr. Dave married my aunt. I don't even know if they was really married, but they was with each other for a long time. And Keita kept saying that Mr. Dave was talking to her, looking at her funny, you know what I mean? And he violated her. But Aunt Tweety ain't believe that shit. So what happened? Keita got put out of the family while Mr. Dave stayed. Talking about Keita was just jealous of the attention that Mr. Dave was giving to Aunt Tweety. Try to read this Instagram thing. Let me see. Let's see if I can read it. Put up. Okay, I can read it. But if I do this, wherever they go, to them, it's a comfort zone, safer space, so to speak. Okay, that's what Chris Batson says. Okay, Sucre Jetois says, leaving is not always a bad thing. It's the absence to the family obligations that follows that causes problems. Leaving is not always a bad thing. It's the absence to the family obligations that follows that causes problems. Okay. All right. That's what I have to do. Like that. It's like, I don't know. Maybe it's my set. I don't know. Okay. Make sure y'all hit that like button, y'all. Make sure that y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. And yo, you can call into the show. If y'all want to call into the show, dial 319-527-6199. Once again, 319-527-6199. That's the number to call if you want to call in, give your 2 cents, make a comment, tell your story about somebody leaving the family. Daddy left the family when we were 6. Daddy left the family when I was 6 years old. He used to come around all the time. He don't come around no more. 319-527-6199. That's the number to call. Hit that up. 319-527-6199. If you call in, press number 1, and that will let me know that you would like to speak. And then I will call you out by the last 4 digits of your telephone number. So make sure that you know your number before you call it. Yeah. And by the way, I want to ask y'all something. Have any of y'all ever been accused of leaving your families? Have you ever been accused of leaving somebody behind? Whether they were telling the truth or not, whether they understood what was really happening or not. Have you ever been accused of leaving the family behind? Okay. Errol Robinson says, more than likely, the toxic person sees the situation as everyone else, but they themselves is the problem. But they themselves. Okay. Cool. And what's good? Enjoy your show. Thank you. Carol Chamberlain says, yes, sometimes you have to for your sanity. They become draining. Okay. T. Gary Wright says, what obligations? What obligations? I guess she's talking to Sucre Jetois. I guess if I had to try to answer that, I would say that, well, let me look at it this way. I asked about if you leave the family with anger, you're probably going to be looked at as leaving. But I also wanted to ask, is it the financial? If you stop providing financial support, do we get closer to feeling like you left the family? If you ain't coming through with no dough, no mo, is that more evidence? Is that greater evidence of a leave than anything else? Just like I said, all right, when daddy left the family, or you might not be looked at it. Daddy might not be looked at as leaving the family if he was still cutting checks. If he was still paying for birthday parties. If he was still taking people on trips. If he was still making sure that lunch money was provided and allowances and I think that for a father or any parent, once you stop providing the money, I think that's pretty good evidence that you have left the family. Sucre says, like the children. Yeah. Children are so important in families. They're not the only components of it, but they are important. Very, very important. I mean, honestly, a lot of people don't even look at family as being family if there are no children. Like, some people say, well, if you're married, if you're young people, if you're married, but there are no children by either spouse, you ain't got no family yet. You got a marriage, you ain't got no family to provide for. It's just me and you. Just me and you. Oh, baby. Just the two. So I would imagine that children have a lot to do with this situation. TK Wright says, leaving is the better choice at times. Yes, the environment may be wrong for anyone involved, but the absence is about more than money for the other people involved. Okay. But the absence is about more than money for the other people involved. Okay. Interesting. Cherry says, yes, by my sisters, especially the one under me. I used to carry guilt, but I met my husband very young, 21 years old. My mother was a little overbearing, to say the least. Escaped through marriage. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So your younger sister really depended on you, and I guess when you got married and started your own family and got out of your house, maybe she felt like she didn't have anybody, or she didn't have you as a resource the way that she needed you. So she felt like you left. I could understand that. And you know what? I've felt that before. I was older, and so I understood it, but I can relate to that. And it's a tough situation. It really is. That's tough. She felt like you left the family, or left her, or you abandoned her. You left her behind. When she needed you the most. Well, I mean, in a way, it's good that you had such an impression on her that she felt like she could look up to you. That's a good thing. But I think that sometimes an explanation of things can really go far to soothe a situation, calm down a situation. What's up, Queen Matu Mayini, Queen Monica Davis, Queen Monica? What's going on, Queen Monica? Good to see me some you. Thanks for coming on through on the Instagram side. Yeah, that's a tough situation, but I don't think that it would seem like you left so much if you came back. It's like when somebody owes you money and you don't hear from them no more when they owe you money, but you hear from them when they finally pay you back. It's like, are you feeling some kind of shame to whereas you can't come through unless you came through with that dough? Is there something else going on here? Something else that we don't understand? But yeah, it's going to make you suspicious when somebody owes you money and you don't hear about them. You don't hear from them until they're ready to pay you back. You know how much you could save a relationship if you stayed in a person's face even after you borrowed money from them. Don't borrow more money from them, but people feel more secure when they can touch you, when they can reach out to you, when they can access you. So when you are in a situation where people are saying that you left your family, maybe it wouldn't seem like such a leave if you showed your face on a regular basis. Well, every Tuesday I'll be through, and that I'm coming through on Saturday too. And what we going to do when I come through is something that's just between me and you. It can help. Now, that's not to discount the fact that you may be going through some shit. Just like Dana was saying, you know, she had to escape. You know, I don't know all the circumstances surrounding that, but I imagine when a person uses a word like escape, you can best believe that they wasn't escaping happiness and cotton candy and funnel cakes and rides on the flying bobs. That was my favorite carnival ride, the flying bobs. Do y'all remember the carnival ride, the flying bobs? Cal Chamberlain, do you remember the ride, the flying bobs? The flying bobs was a simple ride where two people sat in a car and it was like a carousel, and it went up a little bit, you know, a little dip. It wasn't no roller coaster, but it just went in a circle and you went up, and it was fun because it went around kind of fast, and it would have the two of y'all, you know what I'm saying, on the side of the thing. You know, good thing that we had that handy dandy bar right there to protect us from flying out of the car. And they played music on the flying bobs. They always had the best music on that ride, the flying bobs. So there would be a line of people waiting to get on the flying bobs. The flying bobs. You know what I mean? You know, what kind of music would you hear on the flying bobs? Fast, funky music. You know? How Groove Line by Heatwave go? Rain, shine, don't mind. We're riding on a groove line tonight. Ooh, ooh. That's the kind of song you would hear on the flying bob. Oh, oh, oh. It's a great ride. You know what I mean? A lot of them other carnival rides, they was all right. But the flying bobs, that shit was dope. All right. You remember that, Carol? That's what's up. It was a dope ride. It was a dope ride. Okay. All right. Hold on. Sucre Jutois says, I think it's mainly avoidance, having to explain or deal with seeing the hurt they cause. Oh, you saying when people don't come around, when they leave the family and they don't come around? Okay. Yeah, I mean, but it's the same thing as a person who borrowed money from you. I know facing what you have done is one of the hardest things to do, but it's also one of the most necessary things to do. It's something that's totally necessary because when you do it and you get good at it, problems go away. They go away. Monkeys jump off your back like, yo. And I mean, Curious George is like, man, let me get off this nigga back. He too busy solving problems. I ain't with all that. I'm here to remind you of what you letting go. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, when we talk about leaving the family, let me ask y'all this. Let me ask y'all this one. Another example, you know, when women get married, they go where their husbands are. And this is a little piece of what I was of the example that I was talking about before. But when women get married, they go to where their husbands are, and they also take on another name. They take on their husband's last name. So when a woman gets married, we used to say that we gave her away. Even the father at the traditional Christian marriage, Christian wedding. Okay. Who's going to give away this woman? Who's giving this woman away? And it's the father who's supposed to give the woman away. If the father is unavailable because he left the family, or who gives the woman away. Nonetheless, I mean, sometimes it's the stepdad or whatever. Somebody gives the woman away. Now, what if that woman concentrates on her husband's family only now? Her and her husband, they don't come around her family that much anymore. Even the children, she don't bring the kids around her family too much anymore. She concentrates or pours all her love and concentration and efforts and assistance and support into his family. She has really bought in. She was once a Taylor. Now she's a Jenkins, and she done bought all the way into the Jenkins. She a full-fledged Jenkins now. Representing. This the Jenkins family. They go to the Jenkins family reunion. They don't go to the Taylor family reunion that much. They don't even know where it's being held this year. Last year, we had the Taylor reunion in Detroit. You ain't come. Next year, we having the Jenkins family reunion down in Tennessee. You coming? Probably not. But you had every one of those Jenkins family reunions. They had a Jenkins family reunion in Florida. You went. They had a Jenkins family reunion in Georgia. You went. They had a Jenkins family reunion all the way over in Ohio. You went. So in a marriage, a woman may leave her family behind to concentrate on her new family that she just built. Has she left the family though? Or is she just doing what a good wife is supposed to do? What do y'all think about that? Uh-oh. Stacey White says they can kick rocks, jump in the lake 2 times. Interesting. Carol Chamberlain says my oldest brother always said I abandoned my family for my husband's family. So not true. He and I never saw eye to eye. He was never close to me. So that was his excuse. Interesting, Carol. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. But y'all see where this phenomenon can go. It can go a lot of different places. It really can. It can go a lot of different places. We have a lot of different looks for this whole leaving thing. So I'm still not clear on whether leaving is symbolic or the stamp on you leaving the family is stronger when you have left angry. Well, you know what? Since y'all want to act like this or whatever, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take that job down south. I'll see y'all later. And you know it's real when they don't give you their new number. Such and such moved down south. Ain't even give you what's her phone number? I don't know. She changed her number. We ain't got that shit. Oh, what's her address? I don't know. You think we got an address and we ain't got a phone number? She said that she was changing phone companies and she couldn't transfer the number over, but she never gave us the new number when she moved. Let me see. Black Therapist Rock. What's up, Black Therapist Rock? I remember you. I remember you. What's going on? Good to see me some you. That's what's up. But yeah. So when you talk about someone leaving their family, you have different versions of events about what people mean when they say they left. They left the family. If you go all the way on the other side of the world to find yourself, you went to Asia, Africa, Tokyo, Mexico, you went to the places where people told you not to go. But you don't come home a lot. It seems like when you don't return back home a lot, it seems like that's when the talk about you leaving the family starts to really, really rev up. You don't come back. You don't return. You don't check in. You don't check up. You don't give out no information. You don't ask about nobody. I had a cousin, may he rest in peace now, from Milwaukee, moved down to Texas. And he moved down to Texas in like he had to move down to Texas in like the mid 90s, because I believe the last time that I remember him living up in Milwaukee was at my uncle's funeral, which was the end of 1993. And I remember that it was the end of 1993 because it was right around Christmas time. We had to spend Christmas up there. So he left shortly after that. So 94, 95. What's up, Ginkster? Good to see me, some of you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Thanks for coming through. He went up to he moved down Texas, got married down Texas, had children down Texas. The girl he married already had kids and all that. Wouldn't go back to Milwaukee for nothing. Wouldn't come back for nothing. Stayed down there. Now, he was present when my uncle died. But after that, my grandmother died. We had, he was in our generation of cousins. So, cousins get married and having anniversaries and shit like that. We flying from Philly to Milwaukee and driving and all of that shit to bear witness to all of this shit. He ain't nowhere to be found. He ain't coming through. It was almost he ran from Milwaukee. I'm like, what do you got? What do you got? Priors or something? He got a bench warrant? When my grandmother died in 2002 and he didn't come, I knew something. Like, hold on. I knew something was up with that. So turns out there was a whole. He didn't leave the family. He was requested to separate from the family. God bless the dead. I'm not going to get into all of that because he's gone now. And my uncle, who was his father, is gone now. My uncle went first, and my cousin left about really only about 3 years after that. It's crazy. But yeah. So I tell that story to show how there can be differing opinions and the circumstances that seem to be so obvious aren't always obvious. So when you talk about someone leaving the family or whatever, sometimes you have to launch your own investigation or just find out exactly what somebody means by that. Okay. Cherry says sometimes even when you go away to school, people feel like you abandon them, but you have new experiences. You meet new people, you're exposed to new things, and you're the same, but you're not. Glad you brought that up. It's a good thing. That's a good example, Dana Dane, because some people go to school and never come back. Go to school down south with the Bethune Cookman. Is it Cookman? Or is it just Bethune Cook? Went to Winston-Salem. Went to Tuskegee. Went to Clark. Went to Morehouse. Went to the other Morehouse. Spelman. Went to Florida A&M. Went to Fisk. Went to Jackson State. Went far as you could possibly go to a black school in Philly. You went all the way to Cheney. Went to Cheney and never came back. Went all the way to Cheney University and never came back. Went to Lincoln. Went to Howard. Went to North Carolina A&T. Went to Cheney and never came back. How? But seriously, some people go to school, they meet contacts, they meet love interests, or they make a life for themselves right there at the school or in the state of that school. I went to Penn State. You know how many people came from Philly, went to Penn State and never came back? I'm like, why would you want to live up there? Why? But they do. They don't call that shit Happy Valley for nothing. But I'm like, man, that shit ain't that happy. Let me just put it this way. I couldn't live like that. I couldn't live like that up there. That racism situation that they got going on up there, I ain't feeling it. I would never consider. I graduated Penn State in 1993. You know how many times I've been up there since then? Three times. I went up there one time. I think I went up there for homecoming once. I went up there. Maybe I went up there for homecoming twice. I went up there to help a friend out once. I had a truck. I went up there to help her move. That's it. Not that I still have friends up there, but once my friends graduated, no reason to go back up that shit. It ain't like I graduated on the dean's list or no shit like that. I ain't feel like they made me who I am. But I came there to get a degree. Got it. Got the fuck on up out of there. But plenty of people went up there to live. And plenty of people go to other schools and they decide to, like my baby brother. He went to Johnson C. Smith down in North Carolina. He stayed down in North Carolina for over a decade. He ain't coming back to Philly. He ain't never moving back here. I don't consider him to have left his family because he came back to visit every chance he got. It's less frequent now, though, but he definitely still comes back. Last time I seen him, last year? No. Wait, yeah. Because that was before the pandemic. So that would have been in February. I think it was last year. It was last year, the last time I saw him. Yeah, that's right. I think. If it wasn't 2020, it was absolutely 2019. So, yeah. That's a good example, Dana. I wasn't even going to think about that one, but that's a good one. Carol Chamberlain says, my nephew moved to Allentown and doesn't come around anymore. He may show up for a funeral, but that's it. Cherry says, I went to Cheney and never came back. You went to Cheney for real? Yo, Cheney far as shit. You know how long it takes you to walk from Philly to Cheney? That shit can take a whole... Man, Cheney far. But yeah, when you go away to school, you meet new contacts. You know, everybody you go to school with is not from where you from. When you go to Cheney, you meet people from all kinds of places, especially DC, the DC, Virginia, Maryland area. Yeah, they be all up in New York, crazy in Cheney. It's a little black school. Cheney and Lincoln are two little black schools very close to each other. Which one is farther? Lincoln might be a little farther than Cheney. But Cheney far, Cheney far, man. Okay, what you talking about? You got to go back home. You have people who love you. You got to go back home. You got to go back home. You can't stay in Cheney. It's not the place to be. Too much open space. What prison was out there by Cheney? I don't know. Every time we went to Cheney, it was dark. Every time we went to Cheney, it was dark. We used to just go to Cheney just to go up there and party. You know what I mean? Cheney. All right. So anyway, yeah. Go to school. You meet somebody. You meet somebody from another place. Maybe you went on road trips with people that you went to school with or whatever. You liked where they came from. I'm not even saying that you was romantically involved with them or whatever, but you learned things while you were in school. Maybe you took an internship. Went somewhere wherever you did the internship. Maybe you liked it there. Like, hey,
90 seconds.
Or they offered you a job there. You know what I'm saying? I can do this. This ain't bad. I think I'll take this job here where we are and rock on to do the damn do the damn thing. Maybe. But yeah, it's when we talk about where do you go? Where do people go when they leave their families? Let's take it back to that father situation because it's the elephant in the room. Many people have not seen their father, not interacted with their fathers, even when their fathers are still alive. You know, so often. So many people have gone through this. So what do y'all think? Like when you know that your father, like when you say that your father left you when you was younger, you know, do you look at it that way? You may have said that when you were younger, or maybe you didn't say it when you were younger and said it when you were older. Right. Well, what What is your father's reasoning behind not dealing with you anymore? Of course, we've heard men say that, well, your mom wouldn't let me see y'all no more or whatever. And it sounds like an excuse. It doesn't sound real, especially to the child that needs that other parent, that child that needs that paternal guidance. They ain't trying to hear that shit. You fight for your children. You fight to see your children. You fight to be with your children. You fight to be along with your children. You fight to see them grow up. You fight to raise them and have an impact on their lives, a positive impact on their lives, a positive parental, fatherly impact on their lives. But it's not always as simple as it seems, and it's definitely not always easy. Sucre says, I believe it's obvious if he didn't come back, that there's no excuse. Well, some people say that there are excuses or reasons for that. Is it just what they say, or is there some truth that's associated with that? Is there any truth? Can a man go years or decades without seeing their children since they were young? Like, when a man initially takes care of his children, when a man initially does the right thing, when a man initially shows responsibility for his fatherly and parental involvement, and then he stops, what do we have here? And what's the official component, or what's the main component of what leaving will mean? What's the official component? Stop spending as much time. Stop calling as much. Stop sending money, or stop sending money as much. Limiting contact. Limiting contact. I used to see you every day. Now I hardly see you. And you know the roughest one, when the father has left the family, you haven't seen your dad in years and years and years, whatever. And then the next thing you know, you get word that he's sick. And I mean sick. I'm talking about stage 4 cancer. It ain't looking good. Because all you can really do at that time is try to spend as much time with him as possible. But you may still be angry. You may still be hurt. You may still harbor feelings of resentment, like, now that you dying, now you want me to help take care of you, or help you as much, or at least ease your mind of the pain, or ease your mind of the guilt that you feel, or that you have for leaving me behind. Sucre says, even the money is minor compared to the physical presence. Okay. Carol saying, okay, wait. Sherry, well, okay, wait. Carol says, I have known mothers who won't allow a father to have a relationship with their kids because of their feelings about him. So sad. Kids don't know why until they're grown. I've known it too. And I've also known, you know, people to still say there's no excuse. There's no such thing as a mother not letting a child see his kids. I mean, not letting the father see his kids. I've heard people co-sign behind that. Like, nope. If you're gonna go to jail, let let the violation be because you was trying to be there with your kids. Like, so you saying that it's all right to kidnap them, change their names, take them to another state and start another life? From now on, your name's Travis. Travis? What you talking about? My name Hakeem. Travis. From now on. Dad, why you keep calling me Travis? And when we going back home? We've been in Wildwood. We've been in Wildwood for 3 months. Yeah, it took you all the way to Wildwood, New Jersey? From where? From Philly. I'll never get back home. And I know that because I clicked my heels 3 times and said, I wish I was home. Why can't I call my mom? Anyway. Yeah, it's a tough situation. Oh, you have a call on the line. Caller with the last numbers 7019. Welcome to the Urban Therapy with Sun Show. Thank you for holding. What's on your mind this morning? Well, this afternoon now.
Hi. I just wanted to say, mention something you mentioned about when a parent wants you to come take care of them if they're dying, right? And I just think it's interesting that a person who can be absent for a long period of time could even muster up the energy or the dignity to request that when they didn't have that same energy when it came to being involved in that child's life.
Yeah, I can understand how you feel about that. So, but does it matter to you whether he was fully involved in his children's lives at one time and not so much anymore, or does it just or whether he fell off doesn't matter? Is, you know, which one is it?
In terms of the whole entire situation, no, it doesn't matter. To me personally, because I feel like there isn't a situation where a parent should allow that break to happen outside of some type of physical abuse or something like that, like sexual abuse or physical abuse. There shouldn't really be anything that should stop you from even wanting to be with your child. And the fact that you gave up so easily says to me that, you just didn't want to fight. Whatever that means. A lot of people abandon the situation because of the headache that the other parent is causing for them.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, it's just a matter of knowing what steps to take and how to go about it. Because if neither parent has sole custody of the child, there is no barrier that stops you other than yourself from being involved with your child.
Okay.
Even if the other parent is running interference, you just have to take some additional steps, maybe go to court, and that may not be something that you want to do, but if you run out of other options, then you have to take that next step.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm close to so many situations where when parents were in good with each other, then parental involvement was there, whatever. And then when parents separated or weren't together, or if there was some type of static in that way, then father started stepping off or whatever. And I know that almost everybody feels some type of way when we talk about a man so-called not taking care of his biological kids, but then moves with a woman or gets involved with a woman who has kids, and he seems to be treating those kids great or raising them or whatever. Can you turn down your device? in the background, I can hear some feedback.
Okay.
There we go. Are you still there? Okay. Well, yeah. So a lot of times, we hear about that situation where, you know, a man is taking care of his non-biological children, but he's not taking care of his biological children. And I guess I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just said yeah.
Yeah. Now, I see it a different way. You know, and y'all not gonna like what I had to say. But I'll say this. A man is going to take care of the place that's easiest to take care of. That's not a politically correct way to think. And it's definitely not a nice thing to say. And don't nobody want to hear it, especially when they on the wrong side. But you know, I think we all know that old cliche about a man spends his money where his heart is. That's not to say that his heart isn't with his biological children, but if you're going to work,
not to say that, what is it?
Well, I can't take credit or responsibility for knowing how anyone else feels inside their heart except for myself. Mm-hmm. I can't take credit for that. I don't know. Now, we can say let the evidence speak for itself, but sometimes evidence doesn't speak for itself. The physical evidence speaks for itself, but it doesn't tell the story. So the story may have a whole lot of different chapters that have been ripped out of it that we don't know about. And some of those chapters may be like the Bible. We didn't really need that. You know what I mean? You know, what we have, what we're left with is what we needed for humanity. But let's say this. Let me give this example. And this might not be the best example, but if you could tie this in, you could kind of see where I'm coming from. If you have to go to work every day and you don't have a car, so you have to choose between modes of transportation. So if I catch the bus, I might not get a seat, and it might not get me there as fast, and I might have to deal with the crowds that are on there. You know, it's social distancing right now. Ain't none of that going on this bus because it's crowded. If I catch the train is more expensive, but it'll get me there fast. I'm going to get a seat, and they even have express trains. More than likely, I'm going to choose the train. I can get there both ways, but I'll get there faster and easier with the train. So when you talk about being in between two families, you have a family that you're active with, where my girl or my wife, she already got everything mapped out for me to take care of her kids. There isn't any gray area. There isn't any, you got to do this in order to do this, and you got to show this in order to it's like, no, the kids are here. You know what I'm saying? I'll get them ready for school every day and all of that. Their lunch is prepared and all that. All you got to do is drop them off, and they'll be ready, waiting at the same spot to get picked up every day. So you drop them off, you pick them up or whatever. And I ain't going to give you a whole lot of static about that, about none of that shit. Whereas with my baby mom, it's like, you better not come around here unless you got some money. Yeah, all that spending time, that sounds good in court. But don't come around here broke. because every time you come around here, I'm going to have something new that the kids need. They need sneakers. They need pants. They need jeans. They need boots. They need they need coats. They going on this trip. I'm putting them in a new school, and it's a private school, and I need money for that. And plus, raising kids as a single parent ain't cheap, and it ain't easy. And I need you to increase your child support. If not, you going to court and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's like, okay. And by the way, when you take the kids, I'm sending them with you with no clothes. You get them, you clothe them wherever you take them, and you make sure that that's how we gonna do it. So no, I'm not sending them with nothing when they go with you for the weekend or whatever. You provide that.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I agree.
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree that whoever the absent parent is normally take the approach of whatever is easy, right? However, I also know that, like for instance, in the situation with men, only a man who every man is not going to allow a woman to dictate to them what they need to do in order to see their child. So for me, it's like the men who allow that type of behavior are going to be negatively affected by it. Like they're going to take the easy route and opt out. And to me, opting out is the easier route. So, it's just a matter of not wanting to deal with the headache, which is that same headache with someone at least you once had strong feelings for or cared about enough to sleep with, to procreate and have a child in the first place.
Mm.
So if at the point of the breakup, they are, having these types of exchanges, and that says to me she felt comfortable enough to even throw those demands out there in the beginning. So, that to me says a lot about the man who's willing to accept it and walk away.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's a difficult situation, regardless of how you look at it, and especially from the outside looking in, we can analyze it, judge it, or place blame one way or another, and we're all going to do that probably from our personal perspective. At the end of the day, can we really say that he left? Maybe yes. Maybe another opinion is like no. Maybe he's not back now, but he's planning to come back at another time. Now, some people might say, oh, he's just going to come back at a time of his convenience. That's not going to work. Well, there's just a lot of things to consider in this whole situation. It's tough. It's tough. Yeah. But listen. All right, we're about to do these birthday shout outs, but I appreciate you calling in and giving your input. I appreciate it mucho. This much. Got my arms outstretched. Okay. All right. Get with you later. Okay. All right. All right, y'all. Let's do these birthday shout outs. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious April 18th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special, because they are special, because they are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They get number one out the box. Anisha Ebony Robinson, happy birthday to you. And Kimberly C. Henry, happy birthday to you. And Wendy McIntyre, no relation, turning 46 years old today. And Chantel K. Nelson, happy birthday to you. And also Marantha Pierre, turning 27 years old today. And Precious Sezzi, happy birthday to you. And Shavani, turning 40 years old today. She's turning 40, got a 40 in the hand, got a 40. Bow, 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 bow. Yeah, do the damn thing. You're in your 40-40 club now. And Abril Osbornes, happy birthday to you. And Annette Page, happy birthday to you. And Monet Cash, happy birthday to you. And Jasmine Elizabeth Collins. And last but not least, Tennille Thomas, turning 36 years old today. I want to say happy birthday to all of you and anyone else out there who shares this birthday on this glorious April 18th, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up, but don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on it, do the damn, the rock out, rock on it, do the damn, rock out, rock on it, do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind, and anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, man, listen, when we start talking about, where do people go when they leave their families? Well, evidently, they go somewhere to start a different life. They go to be with different people. They leave to go to different experiences. They do have a residence, most of them, and they are living their life the way that they see fit. Does it always jive with how we see it? Probably not. Is it something that we have to deal with? Probably so. Will we like the way it goes in all circumstances? Definitely not. It's a terrible thing when a child has to deal with not having the paternal parental involvement that we should all have. I honestly and truly believe that every child is born with a mother and a father. And I believe that they should have that throughout their lifetime for as long as all of the three people are involved are still walking this earth. It doesn't always work out that way. I wish it did. I would definitely advocate for it being that way, but it's just not that way. And this is something that we have to deal with, especially in our community. The Black community knows a whole lot about not having no daddy. I wish that I could personally change that. I can't, but I wish I could. Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. I love y'all back to life. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't liked the show yet, like this show. If you haven't shared the show yet, make sure that you share the show. Yeah, this saga will continue on and on and on and on and on and on and on until the end of time, because this is something that visits us at the beginning of our time here, and we carry it. Even if it's not us personally, we're going to feel the pain and the sorrow energy of those who have had to deal with it. Peace to all the good fathers out there that are involved in their families' lives. And peace to everybody out there who's involved in their families' lives. Peace to those who love their family and accepts their flaws and their quirkiness and their craziness and all of that. It happens. And sometimes it happens on a level that's too deep or too unbearable for you to deal with it personally anymore. But hopefully the time comes when you can come back to it. Peace, old school. Thanks for coming through. All right. So for my blog talk people, let me get you on up out of here. And I see you on the book, my dear, or somewhere. And for my Instagrammers,
thank you for using
Slammer Jammer.
Goodbye.
I get back with y'all too. Peace. Oh. Okay. All right. And for my YouTubers, y'all know what it is, man. Love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. Love y'all back to life. I get with ya tomorrow night. Daily Go Get 'Em Ism show, 7 o'clock.